Peter Cardwell is here. Yes, it's great to have him back. You might have read in every single newspaper in the land that Peter went to the doctors with a sore throat and a chest, and you actually did collapse.
I did collapse, yeah. I had a bit of a big red.
Yeah, I was 3 weeks the real flu. And anyway, it made the newspapers because he put, I work with Jeremy Kyle and Mike
that's
Graham.
not why it made the papers.
Why did it make the papers?
I don't know. I don't know
why.
We
laughed, and you know that I say to your face what I
Yes.
say behind your back.
Of course.
Mike and I were laughing because Pete always says when he finishes a show, I'll see you on Friday at 4 and Saturday at 10 and Sunday at 10. And at the end of the article, he went, Peter will be back on talk on Friday at 4 and Saturday at 10. And Mike and I just went, he wrote that, but are you all right, seriously?
I'm absolutely fine.
What's wrong with
back
you?
On Friday,
what was
at 4.
wrong with you?
I had a really bad flu, and I'm now almost there. I've still got a little bit of a sore throat, but I'm basically there.
I have to say, without boring my kids who are in the car, it was awful. Vic and I had it for 3 weeks over Christmas, and I promise you,
so many people have had it. It's horrible.
If I could have gone to hospital on Christmas Day, I would have done it. It felt dreadful. Just real flu. It's hard. Would you? Genuinely serious point here. Have you had the injection?
No, I should have had it, but
will you? Because I will now every year. I've never had it. I reckon.
I almost always got it every year. I just forgot this year. Then I got it. You know, I felt like an idiot. So yeah.
I felt so bad, mate. But I'm glad you're back. It's lovely to have you back because we've missed your dulcet tones. Hold on, I'm reading it. We've missed your dulcet tones and great ability to broadcast so well.
It's been terrible. Yes.
Can I start not with Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer? I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Labour considers forcing households that only use and watch Netflix to pay the BBC licence fee of over 170 quid. Can I put to you what I just put to several other people? Do they listen to nobody? Do they honestly think, having off pensioners, veterans, farmers, and I'm being serious, do they not think that... does nobody, you were a special advisor, say to him, or get him up against a wall and go, listen, mate, this is going to be like a cold cup of sick. This is not going to work.
The thing is, loads of people don't have a TV anymore, and we as broadcasters are sort of working out, you know, what is TV, what is online, what is radio. This station, for example, is on TV, radio, YouTube, lots of different ways that you can get it. So loads of people don't sit down, watch the television in the way that they used to.
I said some months ago, I reckon terrestrial television will be dead in 5 years in this
Wouldn't surprise me. There are a load of people, students for example, who club together, they pay maybe 80 or 90 quid, get a little projector and put it up to their phone and then like project TV.
Do they?
Yeah, they really project things on their screen.
That?
It's just a thing. I've just seen it online. I've seen it on the TikTok. On
the TikTok.
On the TikTok. So honestly, there are lots of different ways that people are watching and listening and interacting with media. So to say that there's a sort of one-size-fits-all, and if you have any TV at all, whether it's Netflix or whatever, I mean, first of all, you're already paying for Netflix.
I think the BBC should
I got the cheaper version. I got the $4.99 one.
Of course you do. You get a little fire stick. I genuinely believe that all of it should be subscription, because I think you should have to pay for what you want and the choice. And you know, if you chose to join 4 stations at 25 quid a year instead of paying the BBC licence fee, I mean, that to me is just another example of Labour just total deafness to the British public.
I think they just don't get it, and also the BBC is a monolith, and should it be smaller? I think so, yeah, probably. There's some things the BBC does and does well. Documentaries, there's a lot of, you know, foreign drama that I really like. There's a load of stuff that I would never listen to, like BBC One Extra, for example, that is there, that is perhaps what some people want.
But it's left-leaning, and it's supposed to be a state broadcaster. It is left-leaning, it has an opinion.
And it should be objective, and it's not. No. But, I mean, children's television, for example, is done in some other ways. There's a lot of American stuff as well, but I mean, ITV, for example, doesn't do children's television anymore on terrestrial. So
there's many things that ITV don't do anymore on terrestrial television.
There are, yeah.
Yeah, go on.
But no, in terms of what the BBC should be and what the licence fee should be, I think there's a big debate to be had. But the answer is not saying, well, you don't watch TV, you watch a different thing, you watch online, you watch Netflix, therefore we're going to add this charge to you as well. I think that's ludicrous.
What do you make of the BBC? Is
your voice breaking? Are you 13 years old?
I'm 60 this summer.
You're 60 this summer?
July the 7th. Go on, say it.
What?
Say it.
You don't look 60.
Good man. 0344.
Are you going to have a party? Am I going to be invited?
I'll answer both those questions. Absolutely yes and absolutely no. 0344 499 1000. What do you make of ludicrous Labour consideration that they will bring into force that even if you watch Netflix only, you must pay the BBC's licence fee? I want to ask you, we're going to do politics last. What do you make about this death penalty, which is doing the rounds politically? I gave my analogy before. It's a very difficult one. Sarah Sharif's father should be, to me, put down. I'm being completely straight. That's my thought as a father.
So
you say that. When I
don't-
find a kid with 25 broken bones who's been abused, what does that
Well, what about all the people who, well, yes, in his
Axel Rudakubana, those 3 young girls.
What about the people who could have prevented what Sarah Shirley's father did as well? They should be held accountable too. Look, I don't think the death penalty actually prevents death. I don't think it actually dissuades people from doing things. I don't think it's a preventative measure. And also a lot of people who would be...
That's really interesting. Why do you say that? You're telling me that if you are a mad man, mad woman, being told that you'll be put to death isn't going to stop you. You're just beyond the pale there.
The absolute monster that was Axel Rudakubana wasn't put off by you're going to spend the rest of your natural life in prison.
And then
he wasn't put off by that.
No, and there's the other flip side, which several of my friends will tell me, which is, Jez, I understand your argument about money and the morality and all that, but trust me, let them rot in a single room for fearing even going to the shower or the toilet for the next 50 years. So I get it. But again, peeps, what do you make of the death penalty? Yes or no? 0344 499 1000. I can't keep you away from this any longer. Today we had Reset 734 from the Labour Party. They've only been in power 8 months. Rachel Thieves, or Richard III as I call her, stood up. What? She does look like Richard III, doesn't she? The hair.
I've never seen that before.
And you can polish a Richard III, can't you? But you can also flush it away. Listen.
No, I can't unsee it.
Rachel Thieves or Richard III backs a Heathrow expansion 3rd runway. Hear me out. Talks about creating a Silicon Valley of opportunity between Oxford and Cambridge in a boat. Talks about growth. I thought Harry Cole got it right. She and he, when they took over, painted such a dour picture of Britain. The Tories have ruined it. When in fact, our economy was doing quite well. So it flatlined. The budget was appalling. Even today, she can't rule out more tax hikes. We know she's waiting for the ONR in March to say whether we're buggered or not, and that's
OBR.
No plan, just confusion, up and down. How are we supposed to be enthusiastic 1 minute? And on top of that, you've got the Labour Party. Miliband not seen. Sadiq Khan out saying, I'm going to oppose this. Civil war ensues, I would imagine.
It's very, very difficult. And I think that Sadiq Khan is going to be very loud in terms of his opposition to the Heathrow 3rd runway. It's confusing, even when you look at what Keir Starmer was writing this morning in the Times. He was talking about the Japanese knotweed of regulation. Well, you've just put a load more regulation on businesses. You've also made it easier for unions to bring grievances for people. He was asked about that at Prime Minister's questions today. Sorry?
The workers' rights thing.
Workers' rights,
just ties up companies completely.
So if you want to take on, if you're a small business, that 99% of businesses in this country are SMEs, small medium enterprise, they have an average of about 7 employees. If you want to bring on someone else, it's probably going to cost you about £2,000. Well, a lot of businesses just don't have that kind of cash.
And growth isn't about
around.
building a 3rd runway at Heathrow. It's actually about encouraging those small and medium-sized businesses to be successful, employ
bigger,
more people.
bolder.
And guess what? In their budget, they tax those companies more. So how can you talk about? So how can you talk about bloody growth then?
Also, all of their growth plans are going to take ages, and this is the problem with a lot of what Labour is doing. They're saying social care is going to take us 3 years to even work out what on earth we're doing, never mind changing it. NHS is a 10-year thing. This growth plan is a 10-year thing. It's like, when are you actually going to do any of this? Surely, if you were in opposition for 14 years, surely you had a plan. We were told there was a plan. We were told it was fully costed. Yet they keep saying, oh, we don't know.
Well, this is really interesting because the one who was supposed to have the plan and implement it, Sue Gray, the first 100 days went.
She didn't last the 100 days.
She went 83. We haven't spoken about it. I'm going to bring you to the example of Donald Trump. Love him or loathe him. He
gets stuff done.
And there's this, have you heard the golf story? Go and watch it. This is brilliant. It's for people just tuning in. He's playing golf at Doral in Miami. Played it himself, fantastic. On the 6th hole, because he wants to deport the Colombian criminals, and they're all on the airplane, aren't they, with shackles and stuff. And Selena Gomez had a cry, like we give her stuff. They're going home, right? The president's, he's playing golf. The president of Colombia goes, I'm not having him. He was getting a phone call on the 6th from the White House. By the time he got to the 8th hole, which is about 25 minutes, he'd gone back. And they'd gone back to the Colombians and said, if you don't take these people, we're going to create a 25% tariff on all goods coming from your country to ours.
By the way.
And you've got 1 week and it'll be 50%. And by the 8th hole, the Colombian president had backed down and sent his own jet. We need that.
It's a lot of strong action, decisive action. Love him or loathe him, he is someone who gets things done. And there are just a lot of politicians in this country who really don't, even with a huge majority.
I fear. Do you fear for this country? Or
I do. I think we're in decline.
I hate sitting here every day.
I don't know. We were told the adults are back in charge. We were told in July, it's all going to be fine. It's going to be boring government. Everything's going to be all right. Where's the plan? What are they going to do? They might say today, look, we've shown you what the plan is.
No, they haven't. They don't show me any conviction.
They're not turning things around, and they keep blaming the Tories. Look, the Tories did a lot of things they shouldn't have done over 14 years. Not taking that away for a second. But you look at Prime Minister's questions today, all it is we'll take no lectures, we'll take no lectures. Yes, but what are you doing, Keir Starmer? What are the positives that you've changed in the last 7 months?
Ryan says, we break shortly. No. I'm in charge today. No, I just want to keep asking him a couple of questions because it's so lovely to have him back. They can look enviously at America and think, yeah, it's a different thing, isn't it? The president. But for me, Starmer is the prime example of a politician who has no conviction, he's a bloody lawyer at the end.
I don't think he has an economic policy. I think what he's done is he has subcontracted his economic policy to Rachel Reeves. Well, guess what? I don't think she is one either. I think she's probably out of her depth. And the fact
Rachel
is
from accounts, and Richard III. Rachel, it's all you can see. The haircut.
All I can see.
Go online, all of you.
Once you point it out.
Go online and look at Richard III. It's a bob with a fringe. She looks like Richard III. Third.
Well, she may well have a winter of discontent.
Very, very good. Just final thing, if it's all right with you, Ryan, if I could ask him this without you getting stroppy again, just keep your hand on the clock. He keeps his hand on his clock. His clock, man, what's wrong with you?
I didn't say anything.
The most unbelievable for our viewers, so many of them texting, is this. The day he walks into Downing Street, that Weasel Starmer took down the picture of Margaret Thatcher, right? Because it was terrible, terrible bloody woman.
Like people looking down on them.
Today he says, I'm going to invoke the spirit of Margaret Thatcher and cut through the thickets of red tape to clear the way for growth. And his idea in doing this is to set up a quango or a committee to look into how he can destroy red tape. These people have taken on thousands more civil servants. They've created 7 million quangos since they started. How is anybody supposed to take this man seriously?
Well, the problem is that a lot of what they say is, we'll look into this and we'll decide and we'll think about it and have a review. Well, surely you had a manifesto, you had a plan for government. Surely you should have been ready to go on day one. It comes into so many things. Jess Phillips, for example, campaigner for years and years and years about grooming gangs, for example, and exploitation of children. Well, why wasn't on day one some of those recommendations, some of those ideas ready to go? Surely the Home Office says, we have this, we know your record, we know you're going to be a minister, everybody knew Labour was going to win, this is what we're going to do. And here we are, 7 months
Trumpesque, that, right? Day one, executive orders, love it or like it, they're being done day one.
7 months in, and we are just nowhere with this government. It's just inertia.
Yeah.
You go down the street, ask 10 people, what has the government actually done in the last 7 months? And I'm not sure all of those 10 people could tell you one concrete thing the government has done, for good or for ill.
It's great to have you back. I'm glad you are better, and we have missed your supreme political nous. I know I have actually missed you.
And I'm back tomorrow at 4, and on Friday at 4, and on Saturday at 10, and on Sunday at 10.
Oh, God, get out.
I will.
Talk Drive.